Okay. Thank you so much for coming to this interview. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate any insights that you have in advance. So, for my sake and for the sake of anybody listening, could you briefly introduce yourself, your personal background, academic background, and current professional setting?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I am so delighted to be part of this project. Yeah, first thing first, I was born in relatively small city, Giresun in Turkey at 1991. And after spending my high school in Giresun, I went to Istanbul for my university education. I studied law at Istanbul University. During the final year of my undergraduate studies, I also went to join the Erasmus program in Europe, in Poland, for one semester. And then I completed two LLMs. One of that is in Istanbul, again, Bahçeşehir University. I wrote my master thesis over there on data privacy law. And the second, more recent one, I just graduated from an LLM here in Boston University School of Law. And there I also focused on intellectual property and data information law.
Mhm. I mean, first of all, congratulations on your recent graduation. But secondly, sort of tracking back a little bit, I mean, why choose the law? Why was that your first, thing that you wanted to do for the rest of your life when you were going into college as a 18-year-old?
Yeah, I think the answer of that question a little bit personal. Uh, because like since childhood, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. Because my family had very like a serious financial and legal hardship when I was a child. So at the time, I realized that we need legal help. So I also I came to understand that the help, like legal help, can be very powerful, and sometimes it can be very fragile if you are needing one and you couldn't get it.
And then, with those sort of personal reasons in mind, why did you choose to go abroad after that with the Erasmus program first and then studying in the US? I mean, it sort of sounds like you came in with this sort of community service mindset, and then you sort of diversified into a more international, perhaps more commercial setting. So what was that sort of transition like in your path?
So I think like studying law in the US, it was a very strategic step toward my like legal education and my career also. And actually, I can say that I wanted to sharpen my ability to think critically in English, to analyze like precedent based systems and develop the language. Of course, language is maybe the most important part of it. And but there is also another elements like structure, judgment, and I feel like if I had like experience all of that elements, I can be very like international competent lawyer. So I think that was the most important reason.
So you chose coming to the US as sort of a strategic decision in developing certain skills. And I want to know, what was the sort of differences between the Turkish system, the educational system, and the American educational system, which, first of all, led you to believe that there would be these differences in what skills you developed. But secondly, in reality, what skills you developed. Was the sort of classroom setting different? Was the, assignments different? Was what was expected of you as a, deliverable different? What were the sort of academic differences between your experience in Turkey and the US?
Yeah, first of all, it was like totally different because when I immerse into the United States legal system, like first things I stood to me was their like classroom settings, and the Socratic method that we used like during the legal education. I remember the first day I was attending my American law lecture, and the professor was called me, and I was barely like survive at the moment because yeah, I think also this is maybe very good point. My background, like over 10 years of experience, helped me through the like I can build my answer structured, and I just express my answer that time to my professor. But I also realized that I need to have more. So the structure and how you can like express your legal arguments, it's very important in that setting. Right now, I'm feeling much more agile in any legal setting, in any legal discussion. So I think Socratic method gave me too much about that. So I really cherish.
You spoke to agility when it comes to oral sort of communication, argumentation. Do you think there was a sort of parallel aspect of that in perhaps your writing? Did you have to come up with new skills as you sort of navigated a new educational system, not Socratic in the classroom, but argumentation based and writing based outside the classroom? Did you find as though there was certain developments that you needed to have there as well after you came to the US?
I think yes, like first day again, that this is like another class topic. Like we have like a legal writing and research class also. Over there, I remember the first thing they taught us is IRAC. So what is IRAC? Yeah, like we have like four elements, but the four elements must be very concise, getting all together and giving you the maybe very short, but also like impactful, like a legal reasoning. So I learned how my like writing skills must be matched with that. The hardest part actually was letting go of my like old habits because I already wrote petitions in Turkish in Turkey for 10 years. So it was very challenging at the time. But yeah, when I see that the important thing is clarity, the stronger reasoning and well-defined structure, right now I feel very comfortable my like writing.
So when you sort of phrase it as letting go of old habits, it at least implies to me that you sort of see some of the behaviors or some of the styles that you had in Turkish as negative to what you might want to write in English. So what would those sort of habits be? I mean, were they impediments to your clarity, for example, or were they, structures that you were used to that you had to transform over? And is the sort of implication that I got correct in the sense that you judge them on value to be negative to your current practice?
Yeah, like I don't want to be very judgmental on that kind of distinction because it is very valuable. I noticed really some important points when I got here in the US. Like first of all, I think here, like in the US, lawyers are often like treated like integral participants of the court, and like judges view them as not only advocates but like essential officers of the court. So it is very important, I think, because this level of professional recognition extends beyond courtroom, and I think it affects community altogether.
Mhm.
So this is very important, I think, and like most attorneys I got to know here in the US, they are like specializing their areas, but that doesn't their limit of advising capabilities. So what I mean by saying that, I met practitioners, for example, they began their careers in high stakes litigation involving government fraud or something like that, and then their transition to human rights, that kind of stuff. But in Turkey, I think, in my experience, um, in the corporate setting especially, um, people see us like a generalist. You have to know about every like a legal topic from real estate to like contracts or real estate to data privacy. I think this is much more better example. Um, so yeah, I think we have that kind of distinction in between the two legal system. And yes, I think so.
And with those distinctions in mind, after having traversed these two systems for quite a considerable amount of time, how do you sort of see yourself? I mean, do you feel as an integral part of the court, for example, or do you feel as though you represent a sort of you're a Turkish lawyer in a different setting, or you're an American lawyer with traces of Turkish? How do you sort of identify yourself within those general bounds of perception?
Yes, I think that's the most challenging part, first of all. I believe that cultural identity, it is inevitably like affects my and influence my legal reasoning, negotiation, and advocacy. So of course, I'm looking from another, like a different perspective from an like US born and raised lawyer. So, but this cultural diversity, I think this is like one of the most precious thing in legal setting, because developing that cultural difference, and if you are immerse yourself in new cultures, it naturally impacts and transform your skills as well. So I think we can think it is like it's a continuous development. So, and also I think it reaches to back, but my first like a decision to come in here for pursuing LLM in the United States, because I don't want to be sit on my comfort zone. So I really cherish that like a development. So for like looking for the future, as I said, I see this is much more of a power. I think I feel much more like better, and I that cultural identity, I think, help me a lot, creating empathy, flexibility, and a global mindset, which is all important, I think.
Looking forward for yourself in the next 5, 10, 15 years, we've spoken about that sort of respect and empathy as values that you want to bring to a court or bring to a process. What do you sort of seek to contribute, perhaps in those regards or beyond those regards, to, the legal profession? If it's cross-border, if it's cross-cultural, if it's cross-lingual, what do you sort of, because we've spoken about the community impact, what's the impact you want to have as you go forward in your career?
Yes. Yeah, it is so relatively, as you said, like we are already talking about like a community effect. Like I think this is so important. A legal practitioner, if they are like a lawyer, if they are judge, whatever, like we have to like teach community. We have to like support community all the time. But if we are talking about like a little bit cross-cultural legal balance, um, I can attest that like I feel intimidating and overwhelming sometimes. Um, Even for example, I work for like global companies. Even if you are like working in the corporate setting, uh, you have to also think about like individuals navigating that like a difficult road, like a legal system all alone, right? So I already like think I also think about that. So with my now like a broader legal knowledge, I'm eager to contribute by serving as a connector, like someone who can interpret and translate the legal concepts, expectations, and international trade, like um, a lot of things for to make the easy the like a legal setting for them. So I think it's so important because you are in like a juristic across jurisdiction. You are very different jurisdictional systems. So they need your support at all time. So whether it is advising clients in that kind of like international transaction, or I am only like helping one, for example, pro bono work, or very, like a low income individual. I see my role as like a bridging legal systems, like fostering trust, understanding what their needs, and like try to create effective solutions for them.
So, keeping an eye on the time and being respectful, thank you for setting aside the time again. Um, I want to sort of look back on your journey as a whole. And, there are people who will be inspired by your very global, very, agile in the journey sense as well, sort of path. And if you were to sort of look back on everything you've done, everything you've experienced, what sort of advice would you give to someone who might say, wow, perhaps I should, pursue a legal education, a Turkish student who might say, perhaps I should pursue some legal education in the US as well. Perhaps I should follow in these footsteps into different areas of law. What strategies would you have found helpful had you been able to speak to yourself 10 years ago, 20, 15 years ago, as you are now, in sort of navigating these differences, navigating these challenges, navigating these transitions?
Yeah. Maybe the most important part of the like entire interview, right? Because we are talking about like how we can build like an efficient, like a beautiful legal system, and it comes from the like a younger generation, of course. So the first, I think, like you need to like adjust your mindset. So I, as mentioned earlier, like don't afraid to like stepping out from my comfort zone. So they should do the same. Like don't stand where you are. Just always move forward. And I also like learn to approach each like conflictions, each transition, not as a disruption. They are not like a only barricade, but this is also like a chance to grow all the time. So I also do that, and right now, I also very like right now I'm very happy. Also, like staying flexible all the time while remaining grounded is also in your core values is also important and essential in their legal journeys. And one guiding principle, because it's always like brights my way, and I want to share the important quote from one of the president, Abe Lincoln, who was also a lawyer, and he said, like, whatever you are, be a good one. Like he's a lawyer, and he's saying that very good, I think, word. So it's a simple reminder for every lawyer, I think. But for anyone pursuing international legal path, I advise the same. Like never underestimate the value of being truly good at what you do. Like no matter if you are like interesting space law, in if you are interesting contracts, international contracts or arbitration, right? But you have to be good at this. So this is very important. And last thing I want to share, like skills and knowledge, of course, they will open doors to you. But it's your character and consistency that will define your place in any like judicial, any legal setting.
Yeah. So, one final reflection I want to ask of you. If you look back at everything we've spoken about, everything that you've perhaps thought about as you prepared for this interview, what would be the sort of one thing you would like to highlight? If someone were to watch just the last 45 seconds of this conversation, what would be the main takeaway that you'd want to have, do you want someone to have from your experiences, from your, journey as a lawyer across cultures? What's sort of the most important takeaway that you have?
Yes. Yeah, I really believe that it's very important to understand that like a success isn't just about mastering legal doctrine.
Mhm.
It's about embracing change, staying open to new systems, and carrying your values with you whatever you go. I know I already experienced this. Every legal culture has their own own rules or differences. But those differences will teach you a lot of like a new skills. So it's really important, I think. Like, don't be afraid
Mhm.
to like ask questions, seek mentors, uh, to step into like unfamiliar spaces. Like because growth happens when you are slightly uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and that's exactly where transformation begins.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate all of your insights. I don't want to keep you any longer than perhaps, I have the right to. So if you have anything else, of course I'm here, but I'm just going to quickly end the recording otherwise.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was very, very, very good for me to being a part of this project. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.